Hey guys, you're watching PhoneArena's in-depth video review of the HTC Aria, which is available through AT&T for $129.99 non-contract, and it sports quite a familiar form factor and design that's implemented on other phones, but for AT&T it's actually a quite refreshing new look versus what they had been offering of late, and just goes to show how much Android is evolving on their lineup. From the front, the HTC Aria actually looks like the HTC Droid Incredible just because of the optical pad and the touch-sensitive buttons, but on the rear it actually has a lot in common with HTC HD Mini. Overall, we like the look of the handset. It's very refreshing just because it's not something you really see that often out of Android. It's very compact, very lightweight, streamlined, and even though it's constructed primarily of plastic, we do like the soft touch feel material. It just makes it repel scratches and does a great job for giving you some grip, and we do like the screws, just add some stylizing elements to the handset. Even though it might look compact, the HTC Aria actually sports a 3.2-inch touchscreen display, which actually has a resolution of 320 by 480 and support for 262,000 colors. It's pretty good, especially for this type of screen. Even though text might be on the small size, it has some great viewing angles, and when you use it outdoors, you're pretty much guaranteed to see what's on screen. Right below it, you have your touch-sensitive buttons, and in the middle is your optical pad, which you could use for navigating, and you could push down to make a selection. We just wish that the touch-sensitive buttons were moved down because there's ample enough space on the bottom. On the left-hand side, you just have the well-sized volume rocker. At the bottom, you have the micro USB port, and on top, you have the 3.5mm headset jack, dedicated power button, and on the back, you have the 5-megapixel autofocus camera with a speakerphone. And when you remove the back cover, you just simply gotta pop this off. You'll get access to the battery, SIM card slot, and micro SD card slot. The Aria is running Android 2.1 with Sense running on top of it, so it has all the fantastic things we love about it, from its social networking integration and to its overall personalization. As you can see, we have the helicopter view, and just navigating about the platform is very smooth. There's not that much lag except when you're having multiple applications loaded up, and also integrates a lot of social networking aspects about it, and we just love it just because it's fantastic, very smooth flowing, very few instances of lag except whenever you're running multiple applications in the background. Unless you have some large-sized fingers, you're going to find the keyboard on the limited real estate of the HTC Aria to be a little bit cramped, but it's fairly responsive, and especially when you use landscape, you're just presented to a little bit more space to make the typing experience somewhat a little bit more tolerable. Web browsing experience on the Aria is pretty much what we expect out of other Android handsets. Even though it might not support a fast processor, it does a good job being fairly responsive. Double tap to zoom in. Text could be a little bit small, but you could always zoom in, automatically will resize it. And does enable for flashlight, so it gives you some of that desktop-like experience. And overall, we're pretty satisfied with the web browsing experience on the Aria. The music player on the Aria is no different from other Sense-enabled devices we've seen. It does a good job as far as presentation. When it comes to the audio from the speakerphone, it's kind of a little bit on the sharp side, and you don't want to lay the phone flat on its back just because it'll muffle the sound from the speaker. When you compare the Aria against some of its other brothers and sisters like the Evo 4 with its 4.3-inch screen, the 3.2 employed on the Aria might seem a little bit small, but to tell you the truth, it actually runs videos pretty good. We managed to load up this trailer coded in H.264 720 by 306 resolution, and it played fantastically, no evidence of any lag, and it just looks pretty stunning, especially for a small size display on the handset. Most people will probably be happy with taking photos on the HTC Aria. All you gotta do is just simply touch the screen to focus in and press the optical pad to take the shot. Now, images taken with the 5-megapixel camera outdoors look pretty sharp. Colors were a little bit on the harder side, but indoor shots in low light conditions, it looked a little bit fuzzy, and colors were a little more subtle. But overall, most people will probably be satisfied with the experience with the camera. The Aria can actually shoot VGA video 640 by 480, and it shoots it in 29 frames per second, so they're pretty smooth for the most part. But as far as detail, might not even be as great as what we've seen on 720p cameras, but it's very agreeable for most people out there. The one thing we want to point out is that there's just a slight static noise that's recorded in the audio when you play back the video. When we set the volume to its highest setting on the Aria, there was a slight static sound on our end, which could be heard on the earpiece, but setting the volume down a couple notches fixes that issue. As far as our callers goes, they said our voice did sound hissy on their end, but there's no evidence of any background noise. When we did switch to speakerphone, though, voices were also hissy and also had some sharp tones, but we still make out our conversation, so the calling quality is pretty much average. We had pretty good bars too, no issues of any drop calls or any fluctuations in signals. Battery life is pretty much what you get out of the handset. We managed to get 1 day's use out of it, a normal use, so we're pretty much satisfied in that regard. Not everyone wants to be lugging around a large size handset, especially females, so the Aria definitely makes a perfect solution for those who want just a compact looking Android powered smartphone. For AT&T, it's a fantastic device just because it finally brings sense to the mix, especially when you look at the current offerings. We like the performance, even though it might not be the top end device. Also, when it's priced at $129.99, you just got to outweigh your options whether or not you find the handset to be truly appealing. But overall, we're very satisfied with the experience we got at the Aria, and does well in building out AT&T's lineup for Android. So if you'd like to learn more about this handset, or for all the latest cell phone reviews, news specs, and information, you can check us out at PhoneArena.com.